Dave Ramsey's advice for young people who want to get rich. Dave Ramsey's guidance for future wealth seekers. I heard a remark from a book around a dozen years ago, and it truly transformed my life. If you can decide to live 5 years of your life like most people won't, you can live the rest of your life like most people can never afford to, is the quote that goes something like that. I took the saying so seriously that I was prepared to give up 10 years of my life to live the remainder of my days uniquely, and that is precisely what I did. I gave up being 21 to 29 years old, and ever since I turned 30, I have lived a life that most people would never be able to. I'm going to share some extremely essential advice from Dave Ramsey with you in today's video. I think you can get wealthy and improve your life with this straightforward advice. If you're new here, think about subscribing to make sure you don't miss any more entertaining videos like this one. It's right here. If you will live like no one else now, you can live like no one else later, remarked Dave Ramsey. It's pretty easy, in my opinion. You will appreciate things later in life that others will never be able to enjoy, and you can make sacrifices that others cannot make now. Consider things from a farming perspective. There once were 2 corn growers who would harvest their crop. One of the farmers sold half of his maize to buy a new bride, reasoning that he had to enjoy his remaining half now since he only had one life to live and didn't know what the future held. Life is one, but it may last 70 years, so we better plan for the next few years, the second farmer told himself. Although he stored the remaining half of the maize to be planted the following agricultural season, he also ate half of it. The first farmer planted nothing, so when the next harvest season arrived, he had nothing to gather, but the second farmer had 500 times as much as he had harvested the year before. He could now easily marry a new bride and eat as much as he pleased. This is the moral of the story. If you eat your cake today, you will always be unhappy because you will constantly be searching for more cake. But if you hold on to and invest in your cake now, you'll eventually have more cakes than you can consume. You can live a life devoid of imitation later on if you live one devoid of imitation now. My own narrative. Even though I've recounted this tale on this channel a lot, I think it's still worth telling. I was the poorest guy in the world, or at least among my friends, from the age of 18 to 32. Buying what everyone else is buying has never been my aim. To create the kind of life that no one else was creating was my aim. I made use of the most affordable phones, outfits, and footwear available. Despite living in modest housing, I never once purchased a $50 wristwatch. Not a single penny yet passed through my hands made me spend before I inquire, how can I invest this? The majority of people believe that their lack of funds is the reason they are not investing. You have social media profiles and are required to take pictures of your gorgeous homes, watches, and phones, which is why you aren't investing. Even the most impoverished people on the planet can invest. My existence and financial pursuits.
I told my mother that I needed money to launch a business when I was 21 years old. After that, I went to see one of my sisters, and on the way back, I received some money from her, though it wasn't enough for me to do anything with. So I went to a bookshop and filled a bag with books. My mother helped me carry my bulky bag home when I got back, and she noticed that it was full of books. But you told me that you needed capital to start a business, my mother questioned. I turned to face my mother and said, "Yes, Mom," gesturing to my books. "This is the first capital I needed," I said. I left home after that and began reading these novels while I was gone. After reading those books for about 3 weeks, I felt like I had enough knowledge to go into negotiations for money, and by using what I had learned, I was able to obtain some. The fact that one of the books I purchased at that time turned out to be the most valuable book I have ever read makes it much more intriguing. Since then, that one book has brought me thousands of dollars, and I still own it. I therefore always wonder what individuals mean when they remark, "I don't have money to invest." Everyone has $10 to spend on a book. After all, an education is the best investment you will ever make. The $50 monthly investment you make in books will still be worth more to you than the $50 million you invest in real estate, even after you've made millions of dollars. Trust me, I'm being honest with you. The first and most valuable investment is knowledge. Everything under the sun is yours if you have the correct information.
I'm aware that some individuals will say to me, "But I don't have $10 to buy a book." That's all right. When I first started, I also lacked the funds to purchase books. However, I read over 200 books that I did not purchase. Check out books from your pals. Visit the library. Download the free audiobooks from YouTube and the free PDF from the internet. You can live a life devoid of imitation later on if you live one devoid of imitation now. Self-worth. Investing is a behavior. Many individuals believe that investors are just wealthy people. That is untrue though, as the majority of people who invest millions of dollars nowadays first began doing so when they had little to no money. What happens to people when they start earning $300,000 a year is not an investment. People begin investing even when they have nothing. No matter how little money you make, there are 3 options available to you. These 3 actions are to save, acquire information, and manage your time well. Almost everyone viewing this video is capable of doing all 3 of these things. But only 1% of people will do them because the majority of people are too preoccupied with their poor self-esteem and worry too much about what other people will think of them. People who buy things they cannot afford do so because they have low self-esteem. People who wish to impress others with things they borrow money to buy do so because they have low self-esteem. The fact is, you don't own anything you borrow money to purchase. You are owned by it. I'd say it again. You do not own anything that you purchase with borrowed funds. You are owned by it. This will not sit well with many Western-educated people, but I believe it to be true. If you're not huge, there's no purpose in looking big. I just don't see why someone broke may appear wealthy. Don't try to appear larger than you are if you are small. Instead, make a grand plan. Don't try to pretend that you have $100,000 in your bank account if you are in financial trouble. Don't try to make yourself appear like a millionaire if your annual income is $50,000. You can live a life devoid of imitation later on if you live one devoid of imitation now. In summary, I would like you to complete this easy task. Take a seat and ask yourself, how many years do I have left if I live to be 75 years old? There are still 40 to 50 years left in the lives of many of the people watching this movie. Will it be better for me to live the next 40 years as an average person, struggling financially and appearing wealthy while I'm broke? Or will it be better if I can live the next 7 to 10 years of my life like no one, making all the necessary sacrifices, investing all of my time into meaningful things, buying knowledge instead of new phones, living in the smallest house possible, driving the smallest car possible, saving as if my life depends on it, taking calculated risks toward my financial freedom, and doing difficult things most other people will never do, and then have my financial freedom in the next 5, 7, or 10 years. You can't have your cake and eat it at the same time. It is impossible to live large now and even larger tomorrow. Freedom is impossible without the ability to fight. Fighting is indeed difficult. Fighting carries some risk. Fighting can be harmful. But if you're scared of conflict, you can't be free. If you want financial freedom tomorrow, you will have to battle for it today. You can live a life devoid of imitation later on if you live one devoid of imitation now. We sincerely appreciate you viewing our videos. Do you fall between the age range of 15 to 40? Then, we cordially encourage you to subscribe to our brand new channel, which was specially made to share motivational stories and life lessons for achieving success with you. It's known as Under 40 TV. Please check the description box to become a member of the Under 40 TV. We love you. Which topics would you like to see covered next? Let us know in the comments below. And as always, thanks for watching.